Real quick, we'll touch base before we go into the weekend. We do have a holiday coming up on Monday. The proptradingindicators.com website, you'll see some changes. We're going to have multiple price offerings. The main offering price is going higher, and then we're having some other offerings. We got some new stuff coming out. We now have 3 fully automated trade systems. I see some in the group are already using the new STI strat. Let's go take a look at that. It's good to see somebody's already using the strat on the STI and knocked out an eval in 3 days. Good job. Most of these systems, like the pivot point and then the STI strat, pretty cut and dry. You know, the indicator isn't complicated in how it works with the automation to get that done, and so on. So all kinds of good stuff. Oh, nice P&L there. So anyhow, let's go ahead and talk about some of the changes I'm going to add to the site. Okay, the website, I'm going to have to redo this video. I've already added new stuff. And I talk about the pivot point initial automated strategy. That's the heavy lifter that we launched with. Then we added the river strat, and I talk about that in here. And then we added the STI indicator and strat. So I'm going to be updating this content to include all the new stuff we have. That's all part of the plan. So there's 6-month program. You get access to the tools for 6 months. Special offer pricing is on the website, and the buy button's down at the bottom. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to move to just the pivot point strategy. The indicators for it and some custom bar types will be our lowest cost price offering. And that's the current price showing on the website for the whole plan. Then the whole plan with 3 automated strategies, and we got a new levels indicator we're going to try to add by end of next week. That's going to be a $595 plan for 6 months access. So we'll have a $395 6-month plan and a $595 6-month plan. The $395 will be for those that don't want to spend a lot. They want at least something automated, so they'll get the pivot point strategy. That's the one I'm using every day. And you know, it's the heavy lifter, pretty cut and dry automated trading. So just go to the website proptradingindicators.com. If you have questions, I'm at info@proptraders or proptradingindicators.com. Info@proptradingindicators.com. If you have questions, either myself or my programmer will answer that, and so on. So today, first signal, the first 2 minutes of the market open, we don't trade. 8 to 8:32 U.S. Central Time. That's kind of a dead zone. First signal, boom, one and done. So if you're in signals mode today, you're one done. Time signals did get triggered in long, then it flipped right away to short, and then you were done. So you were 2 and done. And some guys were trading STI strat, already automated and doing well, which I showed you. So yeah, big stuff coming on board, and I just want to make clear, we're adding a levels indicator. So in the about 7 or 8 times that I've been in institutional trading offices, and I'm not talking little peon hedge funds, I've been in a couple of really big hedge fund groups' offices. I know what they were looking at on their charts. There's only 2 things. One was levels, and I know how they got the levels. And one was just one indicator. And yeah, I actually saw VWAP in one of their indicators. I asked them if they use the VWAP in anything automated. They said absolutely not. They just use it to look at it when somebody calls and wants them to put on order flow. They use it to help them figure out where they're going to work that liquidity in from a pricing standpoint to make sure they're in value. You know, if they're adding or putting on a short position or putting on a long. But anyhow, I do have a levels indicator that I will be building. It'll have audible alerts when levels are touched, and we'll have some cool features. So that will allow somebody to see key levels on their chart. So when they're trading, for instance, let's say the levels indicator was right here and had a level, and you set it up for whatever, and you'll be able to set thickness, color, all that stuff. And maybe in the levels indicator, you had your level set as green and dashed line. Okay, you see the market trade through that level, and then you get a signal. Then you're getting a signal out of the market reacting to a level sweep, meaning that key level has been swept. Or it might be a test where it comes down, just kind of trades right to it and into it a bit, and then bounces, and you get the signal. And the nice thing is that tool, you can use it with our diamonds and dots manual trading setup. You could use it with the PPG1 indicator setup, with the river setup. Maybe the level's right here. Then you get a river long, boom, go get in, jump in and work it. Or maybe you're trading an STI signal where you get the STI flips from downside momentum to upside and gives you a signal. So that'll be a really good tool. It'll always help you see the key levels of support and resistance organically, playing out and, continuing to adapt or adjust to what the market's doing day by day as levels are tested or taken out. So I should have that to the group. It's going to be pretty feature packed. We'll try to have that out, towards the end part of next week. And then that'll be the last new thing that I build for the Pivot Point trading program for January. What I'm going to go into then is features adds to our existing tools, and really dialing in and getting more settings put out to the group on all three strategies. So then I'm going to focus in settings, settings documentation mode. So we do have getting started settings, but then I'm going to go in and cover more instruments and more settings per instrument. So when traders come into the program, they have a multiple set of settings that they can use to kick off their automated trading. So you don't have to go figure out what settings to use. And I do have getting started videos on the pivot point strategy and our river strategy and so on that tell you exactly what settings to start out with, bar type, instrument, and so on. But I'm going to spend the whole rest of January, after that levels indicator has been added, populating out a grouping of settings on different time frames for each one of the instruments, like Bitcoin futures, MES, MNQ, the micro for gold, the micro for oil. I'll do those, and then that's the ones I'll populate in our private community. If somebody has some instrument that they really want to have figured out. Also, I'm going to have a section too. I'm going to purchase a set of third-party tool to do custom automation. So I'm going to do a little bit of research this weekend. I know I don't want to use Bloodhound or Blackbird. I know I don't want to use Algo Studio Pro. I'm going to try to find one that's the easiest to figure out how to use. And I'm going to go in and do some training content for the group. And I'm going to link, probably it'll be the river. I'm going to link the river to a third-party tool and create some content on that to put on our site, and then show people how they can go build custom, very unique automated strategies, because all of our indicators use unique math. I don't use any common or current math that you'd ever find or computational styles in any old school indicators. All our stuff is very unique. And then that's adapted to read price action and be responsive to price action on symmetrical Renkos. So we use symmetrical Renkos for this program. Now, I have traders that have the tools running on other bar types. You can do that, but settings that we provide for getting started, so you can right away come in, buy, have settings, set it up, boom, go get automated after you feel comfortable with what you're doing, sim mode for a couple days, then transition to maybe an eval account or whatever you want to do. So you do get settings, but we show that on symmetrical Renkos, and we do have a range of symmetrical Renkos. I will be building my own Renko this month. That I know is going to be a little intensive because we're going to make sure it's back testable. That'll kind of be getting worked on in conjunction with our work on building the levels indicator. So when you come in the program, anything new we add, like the levels indicator or updates to current stuff, you always get that during your 6-month plan. So there you have it. More goodies on the way. Today was the easy 1 and done on signals mode or 2 and done on time window mode. And some, pretty decent price action today. Yesterday, we had the big pump pre-market, and then institutionals held it up most of the day. That was kind of boring. But at least in the overnight session, we had one heck of a ramp. So that was nice. Not last night, but the night before. So yeah, if you have questions, info@proptradingindicators.com. And then one thing I was going to mention for the Algo IQ group on the MOM signals, that's a standalone, separate, more complex set of automated strategies. I'm getting to the point where I'm liking the super bands automated trade that I'm going to add to that program. I'm going to spend some time on the latest version that the programmer just handed me. Matter of fact, he's pinging me now, just giving me some info on how I should go about testing. So looking at potentially being able to deploy the super bands automated strategy to the Algo IQ program at some point next week. Not going to be early because my plate's full, but maybe also like a Thursday, Friday-ish, I can get it out by the end of the week. That'll give me ample time to test what he just gave me. I'll do that over the weekend. Correct any bugs with him, test it some more, make sure I like it. Then I'm going to have to, that's going to be a very complex system. So the second I add it to the Algo IQ private community, I'm going to have to make sure I have a whole bunch of training videos on it because that baby's complex. That's an advanced trading system. So regardless, if you have questions on anything, info@proptradingindicators.com to get a hold of me. And you all have a fantastic weekend. I will have a lot of video content going up to YouTube this weekend. So stay tuned. Okay, have a great day. Talk to y'all later.